Welcome back. President Biden is set to meet with Japanese Prime Minister today at the White House with China as the main topic of discussion. This follows the Office of the Director of National Intelligence releasing the annual Global Threat Assessment Report this week. It identifies China as the #1 national security threat to the United States. Joining me right now is former Naval Intelligence Officer and the Bramer Group Chairman, Don Bramer. Don, it's great to have you this morning. Thanks very much for joining us. I guess one strategy has been to try to rally enough allies around the China threat to be stronger. The Trump administration had done that with what they're calling the Quad. The president now having the Prime Minister of Japan at the White House. What could get done today, Don? And tell me about the effort to bring together as many allies as possible to strengthen the U.S.'s position against China.
Well, good morning, Maria. The Quad, as you say, is a dialogue between India, Australia, Japan, and the United States. And it's important for all four of these allies to come together and show China that there is strength in numbers in the Indo-Pacific region. You know, earlier this year, the Indo-Pacific Command had asked Congress for $27 billion to help put China back in its place, with $4.6 billion of that in the next year for advanced technology, radars, and naval strike missiles throughout the region. So it's important that we show that we're coming together and that there is one force that's going to keep China in place.
Yeah, Secretary of State Antony Blinken visiting Afghanistan yesterday, just a day after President Biden announced his plan to withdraw all remaining troops in the country by September 11th. The Taliban is calling on the U.S. to withdraw those troops by May 1st or risk what it's calling compound problems. The Trump administration initially negotiated that May 1st withdrawal only for President Biden to push it back. Your thoughts on where we are with Afghanistan and the troop withdrawal?
Well, with Afghanistan, you know, the Taliban has slowly been increasing its forces in Afghanistan, leaving Pakistan behind and coming forward, where only in the cities of Afghanistan is the Afghan government still in control. This pushing of the deadline, I feel, is more of this administration trying to claim the withdrawal as their own and not as the part of the Trump administration's policy. I see that whatever happens is going to be a vacuum that is going to put the people of Afghanistan at the mercy of the Taliban.
So it sounds like you don't think we should be withdrawing the troops at all.
I think there has to be a strategy, and I think that strategy is not been played out. In a lot of cases with the Taliban, they've been waiting. They played this long game with Russia, and now they're playing this long game with the United States, knowing that we're getting tired. And for many of the Afghan people who believe, why should they continue to suffer for the mercy of what happened to the United States on 9/11?
I want to go back to China for a moment because I want to talk about using the capital markets as leverage against China and against Russia. In my hand, I have the Strategic Competition Act of 2021. This is a markup of a bill that Chuck Schumer is working on in terms of pushing back. But why not use the capital markets more? For example, there are trillions of dollars, for example, of Russian assets in our capital markets. When we're putting sanctions on Russia, wouldn't it make sense to use more of that leverage in the capital markets? There are still these Russian companies within our ETFs, in our capital markets. That was not a lever that this administration pulled.
You know, I think anything that we can do to use capital markets to our advantage, we should use. You know, if you look at the supply chain itself throughout the world, you know, China has a huge part to play in that we could give to our other allies for Japan. And I think that'll be a major piece of the talks today with the Prime Minister, is how we can leverage capital markets and supply chain to the benefit of U.S. manufacturing and our allies across the globe.
Yes. So what should we be doing then? I mean, the Trump administration put out rules against investing in Chinese companies that are tied to the military. Is that as far as we should be going, or is there a shutdown of capital markets related to these assets, Chinese companies or Russian companies?
Well, it's a fine line because it does affect technology, and one of the bad things that many U.S. consumers don't want to participate in is it will mean a price increase for a lot of goods that many U.S. households find to be of comfort. So we have to dance that fine line. Do we want to pay the higher price, or do we want to take the risk that associates with, allowing China and Russia to continue in our investments?
All right, we'll be covering, of course, the president's conversation today with the Prime Minister of Japan on all of these issues. Don, thanks very much for weighing in this morning. Good to see you. Thank you.
Thanks, Maria.
Don
Thank
Bramer
you.
joining us in Washington.